So Oliver, before we start, I just have to tell our folks a short story. So Oliver and I have been sitting together 3 years ago in the Hubert Burda Saal at the Jewish Community Center, and we had this fabulous dinner like we had it last night. And Oliver and I, because we have been incredible tough competitors at that time with several brands we had, like eDarling against Elite Partner, and always on talent, we didn't talk just 1 minute to each other, sitting directly opposite. And last night, we agreed on that we will have a very lively discussion on that fireside. So I just would like to have my first chart. We get the folks an overview. Yeah, there we are. So Oliver, on our source, more than 50 exits. Given your success you have achieved here, what are you really most proud of in your life?
I think fundamentally, being proud, I think that's not my cup of tea. I think fundamentally the way we look at it is, I've got 3 things in life. I've got my family, I've got maybe 6, 7 friends, and I've got all the founders and companies that I support, that I help to create. And I think that's a very big part of my life. I think I've got the beauty that it's a young part. You know, every time we start a new company, we get one more. And I think that's the way we develop our companies. And I think including maybe the 25,000 people that we have now in the entire group.
So when you say it's not pride, what drives you? What gives you the energy every day to get up in the morning and to work like you work?
I think that's one of the, I would almost call like a competitive advantage. I get up 98% of the day, of all days, and say, I really love what I do, although I have, not like Americans say, 1,000 challenges, but 1,000 problems every day. Yeah? And I think this inherent love for what I'm doing, that's what it is. What it is, I don't know. Yeah, I just like internet, I like going fast. Yeah, I just like Formula 1 more than golf and all of that.
Okay. So means what, Oliver? So if you think about how many hours you're working during a week, about what are we talking? Some people say 100 hours, 60 hours, 70 hours. How much are you working?
I don't measure that, yeah? I don't measure
how much
that.
is it? Even if you don't measure it, you know when you get up?
However is needed, how much is needed, yeah? So I think fundamentally, there are 3 things. I don't have that much time to play tennis. I don't have that much time. I can't play golf anyway.
Let me change the question. Okay. How many hours do you sleep during the week?
I sleep, and at best I like to sleep in planes, so I lose least time. Yeah, so I always take the night plane, obviously.
Okay, so I would say what I heard, you don't sleep much. Okay, how are you, Oliver? What has changed from the Ollie who has founded Alando 16 years ago to a CEO of a $1 billion public company?
I think you have to almost ask your own team. I mean, Burda was our first investor in our very first company. And I think fundamentally, nothing has changed, yeah? I think DLD has the same spirit, it just got bigger. I think maybe that happened to us too. And I think that makes, when we today start a small company, it always goes back and say, we were very small. In 95, we went for the first time to Silicon Valley. In 98, we started the first company. And I think one just has to hold on and continue, sometimes make some changes left and right. But then fundamentally, this great industry, internet, will carry you for a long time. So I think what has changed, some more gray hair, whatever. Yeah, that's it.
All right. How do you scout new ideas at Rocket Internet? Do you have a team of corporate development? How do you find the next big thing?
I think the beauty is we try that the entire organization is disruptive and that basically we get ideas from around the world. We have different people looking at Latin America, different people looking for India, for Southeast Asia, for different parts of the world. And I think that's what most people don't understand. We don't have that central intelligence unit or something, but I think we get it from around the world. Then we make decisions fast, and then we go.
But how do you identify? You have 15,000 employees in your company?
I think the public number, I always need to be careful, now is 25.
25,000. And if you say you leverage your team, to how many people do you really listen to what they say?
I listen to whoever has the best idea. I don't care for that. Yeah, we've just recently an intern sent us another idea. I think it's good. It's a decent risk-return relationship. So I think the one thing we have at Rocket is a pretty egoless structure, meaning fundamentally, it doesn't matter how good you were yesterday. Yeah, if the intern is better today, how young people are, I think that's our culture, and I think that's what we try to live every day.
Yeah, but just to understand, if you say you probably have 100 people around you in Berlin, where you are, and everyone comes around with new ideas. I mean, how do you identify new trends? What makes you making a decision, or with your brothers, or with your team, we go into this direction? How does it working?
I think there's always like an input. Yeah, someone basically telling me about like a new service is using a new need. What about this? Yeah, someone coming across an industry trend. Yeah, so there's always some initiation. And then what's important is either this initiation is so strong, or basically you forget it, and then there's kind of another one confirming that, and then it comes back to your mind. Some businesses we don't do today, but when you get another initiation or another confirmation, then we do it in 2 months, yeah, or maybe 1 year later, and we look back and say, oh, how stupid were we didn't start it 1 year ago, but we say fundamentally it's still long enough trend, and so let's go for it.
Oli, with your 25,000 employees, how many are working in engineering, approximately, or technical product management, so technical functions? What would you say?
I think what most people don't understand, we are at least 50% technology company. Yeah. So although everyone always talks about execution, technology is a big part of it. Yeah. And I think probably if you go down, we have probably 5,000 IT engineers in the world. So it's pretty heavy. In Berlin, in the core Rocket team, we have over 50% technology. Yeah. And but at the same time, we believe we need to be best in whatever it takes. Let's look at a Groupon model. If it's a Groupon model, is technology the most important? No, it's Salesforce. Look at other models. Maybe customer acquisition is very important. Look at e-commerce. Operation logistics is at least as important. So I think, we try to learn and try to build whatever is needed to be successful.
Okay. Let's talk about the future segments you would like to go in. Currently, you're focusing on 3 business segments: e-commerce, marketplaces, and fintech. You also have started recently to go into travel. What's next?
Okay, so that has changed. As a public company, I cannot tell you what my next sector is. Yeah, so a little bit has changed. Yeah, and it was a nice try, but I think those 4 sectors are very large. At the same time, we are very hungry. So I think we will see over the next 25 years more different sectors.
Okay.
So this is a kind of new public language. Yeah?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the reason, I think, why you're sitting here. I think there are European heroes who build big businesses, and I think we have to be very proud what these companies are doing. And of course, the part you have built is a very big part of the European ecosystem we have provided.
But I think that is, looking back, I think that is what I'm most happy about. We started in '98, and it was a long time until 2014. Yeah, so it was fundamentally 16 years, and in 24 hours, one IPO after another, we created, in that sense, 10 billion euro market cap. But what was the best of it? We can now tell our entrepreneurs, this is how to do a funding round, this is how to do an exit M&A, and this is how to do an IPO. Before, it was always this, this lofty dream. It was kind of, one goes public in America, I think, and that is beautiful. I think now, let's say, the dream has come down. I think it has come down for a lot of people, yeah, because they say, okay, those guys are average guys, so I can also go public. And I think that is what's very good for Europe, yeah? That basically the more companies you have go public, we have also starting to have this European dream. One can build a company, one can go big, one raises primary capital, yeah? We didn't sell any share, and one can continue building out. And basically we have a little bit of Silicon Valley, a little bit of Wall Street, everything what's needed.
Yeah. Ollie, I just opened a chart which you can see there, which shows your IPO value of Rocket Internet and Zalando compared to United Internet. I mean, the first question I have, I mean, what is your view on the valuation? United Internet had in the first 9 months 250 million free cash flow, 2014, and they have an evaluation almost, I would say, equal to your ones. What is your view on the valuation of Rocket Internet and Zalando?
I mean, Ralf is a friend of mine, so he has a great company, yeah? I think it clearly looks undervalued, yeah, United Internet, yeah? And I think on the left, yeah, for me the left, so here, yeah, on left and right looks pretty undervalued, no? So I think fundamentally very different. We had very different stocks. Ralf has a company that is leading in telecommunication, in hosting, and I think he built it over 25 years already. I think we are very much at the beginning. We are focusing a lot on emerging markets. I mean, the average e-commerce penetration in our markets outside Europe is 2%. So, you know, we have now 2,500 people in Africa. We have 3,000 or 4,000 people in India. We have 3,000 people in Russia, people in the Middle East, and so on. So I think there, it's a very beginning, yeah? And I think that's what people and our investors believe.
Ollie, for what? You have secured almost 1.5 billion euros in fundings. For what are you using these fundings? Are there any plans you can share today?
Yeah, you try to be really make me talk. So I think fundamentally we will do what we told our investors when we went public. We'll invest in our young companies, into our emerging stars and our proven winners, and we'll do new things. Yeah, and I think
acquisitions. What is your view on acquisitions? You have built a lot.
I think fundamentally, investment, acquisition. Yeah, I've always been investing. Also, we are building, we're investing, we're acquiring. So I think the whole spectrum, whatever we think makes sense for that sector.
And just, Ollie, to understand how the structure of Rocket Internet works. I mean, you're now, even if you are in the entry standard in the German market, so for all our international guests, you don't have the ballpark of American regulation or German regulation. You're in a very liberal segment of the Deutsche Börse. How have you changed the structure of your organization to provide what capital companies need to have a proper reporting, to have stable development, or do you really care or don't?
So, what we did not change a very long-term outlook. We're in a segment of the public market where we report only every 6 months. I think that's a big advantage. Yeah, we can build, and then we can basically tell people about what we delivered, and people can reconfirm the investment thesis and continue to hold our shares or to buy into our shares. What has obviously changed, I think we learned in the last, I would say, 2 years, the value of financial, I wouldn't say control, but financial, investing into financial process, into finance process, accounting processes. So I think one of the lessons that we tell our young founders is, don't lose speed, but maybe at 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., start doing some accounting and so on, so that basically when we have an investor coming to a company, that there is some basic form of balance sheet and so on. Yeah? I think I've seen companies...
So they can present precisely and nicely, and you care about the figures after 6 months.
So that the numbers are proper, and I think, you know, look at it. In the first years of our companies, in the very early late 90s, early 2000, accounting was, yeah, done once a month. Yeah. So I think now we got to much better, and I think we make our companies very transparent, and we start to love auditors and so on.
And what is the most valuable experience you got out of the IPO? If you see the IPO, how it works?
I think the most valuable is this. It's doable. Yeah. It was a mystic. Yeah. It was like one of those fairy tales, some myth. How is it? Oh, only the Americans? No. Yeah. On the Chinese. Yeah, so, and I think the good thing is we had a lot of buy-in also not only from international investors, but also European, German investors. Yeah, German investors are a big investment group, and I think everything what they said about the Germans, they're so conservative and they're boring and they're slow. It's kind of like, I think, you know, they backed us, and I think they're going to back other people coming from European countries in their dream.
Okay. Let's talk a bit more in detail what your vision is about Rocket Internet. You said, the vision of Rocket Internet is to become the world's largest internet platform outside the United States and China. Is this correct?
This is correct.
Is your internet platform still an incubator? Or how do you intend to transform your business into a global internet player?
I don't like this word incubator. I don't think that's what we are at core. I think we are a platform. Why? An incubator sounds, like funny chairs like here, and you sit there, and it have some fancy drinks, and cornflakes are free, and so on. And I think that basically, you start to do something the very, very first time. I don't want to do something the very, very first time. I want to try as much as we can, have a process that someone wants to do advertising on TV. Oh, okay, we have 17 companies who have done it before. Someone wants to do a logistics platform in last mile delivery in India. We have already 2 companies with 2,000 people doing last mile deliveries and so on. Yeah? And fundamentally, that's, I think, why we call it platform. That's a benefit that we have. We have done most things already before. Maybe not this specific business model, but probably 95% of the components. And if not, we are still willing to do it. And I think also the term investor is not right. Yeah? So I think fundamentally, platform, builder, and I think also when we invest in companies, it's more, we give very operational, pragmatic advice. Yeah? Board seats and that thing is not the most important to us.
So you really see yourself more like a very performance-driven organization who runs on KPIs, who's going for not for the first idea, but for a proven business concept, and that's what you're scaling up with your company.
Maybe like Toyota platform, something like this, yeah?
A Toyota platform?
Yeah, we have a platform. I mean, look at it. Even Volkswagen. All the cars look different, but they're all built on one platform. What is it called? Cayenne, Touareg, what's the other car? Q7 or something, yeah? So they're all built on the same platform. They just sold under 3 different brands.
And how do you see the languages? I mean, many products we have are cultural differences. That's something Volkswagen, for example, has a big fight in America with to get certain market share there. I mean, if you say you're building a platform, how
I don't care for cultures. Yeah, this whole thing about cultures is over-exaggerated. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, e-commerce, that works everywhere. Yeah, so what's the difference? Yeah, they may buy this clothes here and they buy different clothes in India. Yeah, but it's fundamentally the same thing. Yeah, I think in our market, this whole culture thing.
But if that is the case, when do you start attacking American companies in America?
So first of all, we don't attack. Yeah, we might friendly enter America. Yeah, yeah? Take a visit. Yeah, so
I think if you ask your competitors, they might have a slightly different view on that.
But when we friendly enter
we both
another...
talked 3 years ago,
yeah,
for not a minute.
But when we friendly enter a new country, then we think about, before entering this country, how can we win? And if we think that the chances are very low, then we don't enter. And I think this has also been core to our philosophy. Take calculated risk. Remember, I'm a lawyer's son. I'm not an entrepreneur's son in a big way. Yeah, so I'm not a philosopher either. So basically, we think, okay, it's a good risk-return relationship. We think we can beat them by working harder, running faster. I think fundamental, simple virtues.
So, okay, so what's about the entering the American market?
Okay.
Are there any plans? And my question is about Europe. You have talked a bit about Asia, Africa, and these kind of countries. What are your plans for those two large regions?
We have a company, a very important company in a sector that we believe strongly in, food. Mm-hmm. They're called HelloFresh. This company is very successful in America. I think we have 1 or 2 other small companies in America. I think, yeah, let's just like the Americans say, nothing is impossible, so now we say also nothing is impossible.
Yeah. Let's talk about talent for 2 minutes, because we all know how important talent is. And I have another chart for you. Just have a look. Kununu, in this country, is a platform where 100,000 of people make recommendations on their employer. And it's a company of Zing. It's doing very, very nicely and we're growing very fast. And you got a very high rank there, surprisingly.
Yeah, but you know the difference is the free drinks of the Google guys and so on, yeah? I mean, that's not, what, we provide them much more freedom. Let's say you go to Google, what do you get? Do you become the junior SEM manager of email in the AdWords, and then the, what is it called, like the social context ads and so on? Or do you want to kind of build a company, yeah? But the chairs might be more comfortable at Google, the drinks, yeah? I heard they have a cafeteria or sushi or something, yeah? But this is for the real people who want to build companies, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. You know, I have to tell you, I don't know whether I now break some confidentiality rule, but when we looked at your recommendations, because we have a process to just take out all rude words, we recognized that your company has an absolutely high record of people who write recommendations with the F word, and they don't come on our platform. So that's the only bias I have to make, but you get that F word as well at McKinsey, at Google, and other companies as well. Why you have fantastic results there? And seeing McKinsey or BMW, these are top employers in this country. If you see a ranking, whatever one you take, whether you take the Wirtschaftswoche, these are the top employees, companies where young students would work for. But the public view on Rocket Internet is somehow different. Is it because journalists don't understand how young people want to work and what kind of environment they want to have, or what is it?
I mean, let's look at it objectively. Whenever kind of like in the foreign press, yeah, they say in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, they say the Germans build web shopping in Africa, yeah? So it's always much more positive. It's much more about what you delivered and not kind of all the sacrifices or mistakes you did. I think in Germany, it's in waves. It goes up and down and up and down. And so kind of, you know, I focus on not even those charts. I focus on our internal employment surveys. I focus on the number of applications. We get 8,000 applications a month, yeah? So that's what I focus on, yeah? I focus on kind of, your friend just told me his son works at ours. I think we're a great training ground, yeah? I think we're like, yeah, like the West Point of the internet or something.
And
yeah?
Ollie, is it getting harder now to get talent, or is it getting easier?
Much easier.
Much easier.
Much easier. I think you get all those foreigners. It seems to be the public company is safer, it's bigger, and so on. I think it's a lot easier.
Okay. My final questions, Oliver, about you as a CEO.
That's not allowed.
It's not allowed. I know, you told me, but I will ask. Do you have a deputy at Rocket? Do you have a inner circle? I mean, your brothers, of course, are inner circle because it's family.
But we have, I mean, Alex Kudlich, we have Rodrigo, Eduardo, we have Hevent in India, and so on. Of course, I mean, we are very widespread. Yeah, we want to build a lasting institution. We want to be there beyond my time.
And if you see the relationship with your brothers, most people, most families tend at least at one part to split up.
Like
and
a boy
to separate.
group? Yeah.
In many other, if you talk to Dr. Burda, I mean, it's widely written. He said for him it was one of the biggest success factors for Burda Media was getting the control in his hand and to develop the company very fast as he decided it. So what is do you have a feeling of that will last forever with your brothers?
I think, first of all, I think control, yeah, is a very strange term to us. We never had control of most of our companies, yeah, including Rocket. I think we own 40% or something of the company, yeah. We don't have those A, B, C shares or something with 30 times votes, etc. So ultimately, our investors trust us, and that has been the past, the same thing. With my brothers, the same thing, yeah. Nobody controls, yeah. We believe this is an opportunity, we share. Maybe one person believes more in it. I think the beauty is about brothers, but the same is true for the inner circle in most of the leading management teams around the world. There's this foundation. You might fight about things. You might fight also a little louder than at Google or something. Yeah. But fundamentally, you're very objective driven. And then the next 10 minutes, you make the decision and then you go. So I think that's a great foundation, but it's not limited to my brothers. It extends to many people in the organization today, and I think that's what we're very happy about.
Okay, great. So how do you balance with, as you said, you take the night flight. Actually, by the way, to the last night you went at 10. So anyway, at least some days I see you go early to bed. But how do you balance your life with working very intensively and having a family with kids and a wife? How do you balance
Internet
that?
and kids, you know, I play in the sandbox. I'm very good at that. Yeah, so I think this kind of like internet, yeah, Formula One, and then this, it's
Family.
pretty tough, yeah. I mean, doing the weekend with the kids, yeah. It's kind of like the real life, yeah. It's often harder than doing the week, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the things, yeah, I crawl on the floor and build sand castles and with water. But Steffi is there. I think now, anyway, the questions have to end.
Actually, it's quite funny because I know I have.
Steffi maybe can protect me. He
I have one
continues.
last question.
I'm the good housewife. I have to.
Yes,
I know.
yes, we have to go. We
But
have to
that's
go.
all right, Oliver. Listen, that's all right if you're sitting here. Give me 60 seconds. At the next year's DLD conference, who would be your fire chat person you would like to sit here?
I think that's the beauty about the internet. We don't know who it is. I hope it's not someone we know today. I hope it's someone in this audience, in Berlin, in Stockholm, in Singapore, hopefully maybe even outside US, because I think that's what we're seeing. And I think that's the real power of it, that you don't know. Yeah, nobody knew about Mark Zuckerberg, nobody knew about Travis, etc. Yeah, and then they come out of nowhere, and they're bigger than the companies before. And I think so. Let's hope that it is an unknown person up today, and not kind of like one that we know today.
Great, Oliver. I wish you a lot of luck with your venture. Hopefully, you not only become rich, but you build a sustainable long business. We press you both thumbs, and thank you very much that you have been here.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much. Thanks.
Super gemacht, Olli.
Thank you.